Hello, this is Michael Kraut with IT Dudes. We're going to be talking about course Introduction to Microsoft Windows Server 2008 Network Applications. This is for 70-643, Part 3. Welcome to the presentation. Windows Server System is a registered trademark of the Microsoft group of companies. In this course, it's designed for students who work in complex computing environments, so medium-sized to large companies, and who plan to take the Microsoft Certified Technology Specialist exam, which is 70-643. In this course, we're going to be looking at IS-7, configuring remote administration for IS-7.0, delegating in IS-7.0, feature delegation, tools for running administrative tasks, executing scripts, managing IS, configuring FTP, configuring Windows Media Services. We'll also be looking at SharePoint, Windows SharePoint Services 3.0. So the course objectives, we're going to secure a web server, manage IS through 7.0 through the IS Manager, configuring IS 7.0 using the command line tools and scripts. We're going to show you examples of the different scripts that we can run to help with configuring IS 7.0. Tune IS 7.0 for improved performance. Preparing and implementing a IS 7.0 web farm. Proactively managing IS 7.0. Implementing and configuring FTP 7.0. Deploying SNMTP server. Installing and configuring Windows Media Services. And also we'll be looking at Windows SharePoint Services 3.0. So the prerequisites. You should have a solid foundation of understanding of Microsoft Server operating systems, common internet technologies like DNS, FTP, HTTP, SSL, Windows Server 2008 Configuration Part 1, 2, 3, and Windows Server 2008 Network Infrastructure 70-642, Parts 1 and 2. In preparation for Part 3 of this course, you should have taken Parts 1 and 2. So, in the different topics, we're going to be looking at configuring logging for IS 7.0. So we've built a server, we have our website, it's on it. We've gone in, secured it with SSL. We did HTTP redirection and HTTP requests. We looked at caching. Now what we're going to do is look at how can we audit our IS server so we can capture traffic and we can analyze it for billing purposes, also to find out when somebody has gotten in that is not supposed to. Configuring remote administration, we'll talk about how we can use the IS management service to be able to remotely administer the IS 7.0 server. Configuring delegated administration, configuring feature delegation. And delegation is just passing the buck, giving it to somebody else. Tools for running administrative tasks in IS. We'll look at executing scripts for administrative tasks. Managing IS tasks. Tuning IS 7.0 for improved performance. We're going to look at how can we make it that the server works faster. And also that's going to help us to lower our total cost of ownership too. We'll look at web farm preparation, using distributed file system and shared configuration. Configuring a web farm. So we'll go through the steps and show you how easy it is to set up a web farm. Proactive management of IS 7.0. Being proactive means that we're doing it before it happens. So we're planning for things that could go wrong and have a plan that we can back out in case it doesn't go right. Configuring FTP, configuring SNMTP. We looked at configuring SNMTP a little bit before, but now what we'll be doing is we're going a little bit more in depth. And also configuring FTP, we'll be looking at the differences between FTP 6.0 and 7.0 that we have in IS 7.0. Configuring Windows Media Services. With Windows Media Services, we can create broadcasts, we can have ongoing stations or whatever that people can tap into, and we'll show you how we can use Windows Media Services within Windows 2008 Server. And then we also have SharePoint services that we'll be looking at, and we have an exam prep for 70-643 Part 2. So the curriculum path, configuring Windows Server 2008 Network Infrastructure Part 1. Then you did Part 2. Now we're on to Part 3 of the Windows Server 2008 Network Applications, which is part of the 70- that prepares you for the 70-643. The 70-642 were with the configuring Windows Server 2008 Network Infrastructure Part 1 and Part 2. You have lab and exercises that you can download. Make sure you go through, and this will enhance your overall experience. If you have questions or comments, you can put them in the GoGo box at the bottom of the video. Let's get started.